and
Coffee, just coffee, black coffee.
just black coffee. Oh, I should send you proper coffee. I have um let me see. Let me take a look at this. Wait, let me check something here. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Here we go. Hello guys. Hello. How are you? You're drinking just black coffee, Zach. How are you, sweetie?
Chugging black coffee to stay up to date with all the tea.
I saw you were at the gym.
Mhm. Went to the gym this morning. It's been getting it going.
Do you do weights or do you do cardio?
Both.
You do both. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah. I usually do only weights. But here, hey guys, welcome to Zach. Our lovely Zach is here. He's
Hi
amazing, of
guys.
course. Don't forget to go subscribe to his channel. Oh, Zach, you're so close to getting 100K. We have to
Getting there.
really, yay, we have to get you there. So thank you for being here, sweetie. I was watching your live earlier. And you have all the tea on Blake Live. They were going to talk about Meghan Markle being. There's a new verb in town. Have you heard the verb markled? You've been markled?
No. What is
Okay.
you've been Have I been markled yet?
Not yet.
Okay,
Markled.
good.
Oh, please, people on the chat, they're going to educate you what markled means. Means when you're dropped, or, when, for example, if a brand associates with you, and because of Meghan Markle, right? And then it goes down to shit. So it says you've been markled, or when she
Mm.
goes her people because she goes everybody. So I said that there's a new verb in town called she's being gooped because, with my
Mm.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
So please, guys, let's go show some love to Zach and his channel because he's amazing. There you are in your lovely videos and your lovely lives. How many times a week do you do lives, Zach?
Usually 5 times a week, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on weekends.
Wow, every day? You do a live every day?
Every morning we live stream.
Oh, wow. That's it. And you do videos as well. Wow. Okay. Well, then there you have it, guys. You got to go subscribe to his channel. We got to get him. You're so close to 100K. We need to get him to 100K, guys. So tell me the tea a little bit. We're going to start with Blake Lively because I saw you were talking about Blake Lively and Gigi Hadid and all these things. And I was like, I was watching the live, but I put it on mute because I didn't want to hear it. I want you to tell me.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a busy week we had so many different court filings last week. We have Justin Baldoni, who's now suing his publicist, who it kind of seems like the publicist is the one that kind of blew this whole thing up. She took text messages and gave them to Blake Lively and convinced Blake Lively that there was this smear campaign against her. And so from there, it kind of seems like that's what sparked all of this litigation. And so now everybody's suing each other, and we're now moving into the deposition phase. So now, or well, the discovery phase, which comes with the depositions as well. I believe all the depositions are due by August 14th. If
Hmm.
there are no additional delays, but so that means between now and August 14th is when people will get deposed, and people are now thinking Bradley Cooper is going to get deposed because Blake Lively thanked him in the credits, and he was part of this secret premiere that she hosted with an edit of her own. And so now we found out that not only was Bradley Cooper there, but Gigi Hadid was also there and got to watch the film ahead of time as well. And so she was out trying to promote the film and help Blake Lively. And so it seems like they have given her some sort of creative, editing advice, is what it is what people are kind of speculating. So I'm pretty sure Brian Friedman is going to depose Gigi Hadid now. We have Taylor Swift that's already been dragged into this, Bradley Cooper that's been dragged into this, Hugh Jackman that's been dragged into this. So a number of their famous friends are now getting pulled into this, which will be interesting to see if, Blake and Ryan are going to go all the way to trial, or if they're going to allow their friends to get pulled into court and testify.
Oh, this is gonna be well, I don't know, because I was such a Johnny Depp stan, like, I love Johnny Depp. I mean, my favorite moment was when the guy said that he never seen that he would remember if he saw Johnny Depp's penis. Remember? I think it was his bodyguard or something like that. I think that was my favorite moment. I thank you, Nelly Ford. Please go subscribe to Zack's channel. Yeah, he's amazing. We got to get him to 100K. Of course we do. He's so lovely. But so Gigi Hadid now maybe the post. So could there be more famous people that are around there that we don't know about?
I mean, listen, the fact that we even have Gigi and Bradley and Hugh Jackman, I mean, I think, and Taylor Swift, I think those four alone could be enough to get Blake and Ryan to settle. So what's happening right now is they've all filed a motion to dismiss. So they want the judge to basically say, Justin's lawsuit is bogus. We're going to dismiss you guys and he can't sue you, which is a standard legal tactic. You know, you often file for a dismissal and the judge usually doesn't grant that, and it doesn't
Mm.
seem like the judge is going to grant any of their motions to dismiss. So I imagine it's going to move forward. But now, once we move forward and start getting into all the receipts of it all, I think that's where it's going to really start to get juicy.
I can. Oh my God! You know what? I am almost. Well, I'm sure you don't know who Cristiano Ronaldo is, but Cristiano Ronaldo is one of
Soccer
my.
player, right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah, I call it football. I'm Latina, so yeah, I want to see more of these comments, like Carol Wamsley, that you guys have subscribed to Zack. I want to see more of those comments, and I want to see them.
Yay.
So yeah, so he won yesterday, Portugal. So Portugal is going to the semifinals. So and he scored. So this is almost going to be as juicy as this, because I wonder who else they could pull in, like other than Gigi Hadid, because she seems to have invited a set of A-listers. Everybody
Yeah,
was involved except Baldoni.
yeah, there were a lot of people that we've heard were at that private screening that Blake hosted. So far, the only names that we've confirmed are Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid. We'll see who else ends up getting pulled into it as well. Because I mean, I would imagine other famous friends of theirs were also at this screening. So I'm pretty sure Brian
Except
Friedman's
Justin
going to pull it.
Baldoni. Except
Except
Justin.
Justin, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
Isn't it? I mean, I just don't understand one thing, because you know what, Zach, in preparation to having you here, a lot of people have been asking me this, which is actually, I would like to know too. Why isn't Sony involved in any of the lawsuits?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't know what I mean, I imagine Sony doesn't want any part of this, and that's why they're kind of trying to stay away from it as far as they can. But I thought that that was strange that Blake didn't sue Sony, but she only sued Justin Baldoni, because you would think like Sony is where the big money is at. So, and you would think since Sony was the one helping to finance the film and distribute the film, that they would have somewhat of a role, especially now that Blake Lively has claimed that she tried to report these things to Sony. So that's kind of the bigger question is, why haven't you sued Sony? Like, why, unless this is a personal vendetta and attack at Justin Baldoni, why haven't you dragged Sony into this as well? Because they should have some sort of culpability, you would think, based off of the allegations.
Yeah, because people were asking me, didn't she complain to Sony? Wasn't Sony aware of all of this? So if Sony didn't do anything, aren't they also accomplices to the harassment? I mean, and I'm saying
You
harassment
would think
loosely, guys,
so.
here, okay? I'm not saying that Justin Baldoni harassed her, but I'm saying that she would, I assume, complain to Sony, and Sony would, kind of like being a partner of it, would say, wait a minute, back up the truck, buddy. What's going on?
You would think, right? I mean, that kind of seems like a very fair and valid point to make that I think a lot of people are confused about is it's like, well, why aren't you dragging Sony into this? So it does feel like it is a more personal attack directed at Justin Baldoni for sure.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you this, because some people are saying that. What do you think? People are saying that Blake is going to settle, but do you think that she would need to have, like, I mean, I from my point of view, she needs to have an apology. She needs to give an apology. Otherwise, I think Justin Baldoni's done.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part is it's like I could see her settling to get out of it financially, but like is she also gonna give him the apology that I think he needs? If he doesn't get an apology or he doesn't get exonerated by a jury, then I think at this point, it's a lose for him, right? Like he needs his reputation. He needs for her to come out and claim that this was a personal vendetta against him and apologize to him, you know?
What if he settles and there's no public apology? What do you think his
I don't think
chances
that'll
are?
happen. I don't think that'll happen. I think his career is done if he doesn't get an apology from her, because then there are always going to be those people that are going to doubt whether or not he truly harassed her. So I think he needs that apology, or he needs the jury to completely exonerate him and say she lied, and they don't, and the jury doesn't believe her. Like, those are the only two ways I think he gets out of this, is legally getting the jury to prove that he's innocent, or to, give a verdict in his favor, or for her to come out and have an apology from Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. I mean, that would be funny, considering they wanted him and Wayfair. They wrote up this whole statement that they wanted him and Wayfair to release, basically acknowledging that they had done these things and wanting them to issue that publicly, so that, in a way, to essentially, in my opinion, shame them and make them come out and, make them admit to things that they are claiming they didn't do, and they weren't willing to do that. And so now it's just funny that, if anything, Blake and Ryan are going to be the ones that are probably going to have to issue the apology.
I was watching, I follow you on TikTok. I was trying to pull up that TikTok, but I don't know how to do it. But there's a TikTok you have where you said your favorite book now is your web book is reading the website from
Yeah.
and you read that you should be, you know what, you
Her
should
text
become a
message.
reader or something like that, because you read this particular text message where Blake Lively is telling Justin Baldoni something like, "Oh, I can be sweet and I can be gentle, and don't worry about the teeth. I mean, I can. I mean, the only thing I can think of, and I don't want to be crude about you having to worry about using your teeth, is because you're doing something that we all
Yeah.
know what's about, right?"
You're doing something with your mouth, and if you're not using teeth, it's because, you're trying to
Yeah,
make it smooth.
because you're and then I when you read this back, I got it as this oh my god, like he was really, it was the best "I'm not interested in you" response. Is like, "Oh my god, I was just bawling my eyes out because my family wasn't here." What were you
Yeah.
saying?
His response, because she wrote him this, like, text message that was in reference to a scene that they were about to do, but she was saying that, like, oh, I think our characters need to be more, she was basically saying she wanted them to have more of, like, a banter with each other. And she was like, I like to be a ball buster, but don't worry, I never use teeth. And then he responded to her, and he's like, oh, sorry, it took me a while to respond. I was just bawling my eyes out because I was with my wife and kids, and they're going to be away for a while. So he
Oh,
continued to reference his family, being like, listen, lady, reminder, I have a wife and kids, and I'm sad that they're leaving. Leave me alone.
yeah, wasn't it? Because why would, and then she offered to even, I can do it later, or I can do it now. What did she mean? Was she gonna get a
Oh, yeah.
dildo
She said
and
that she
show
could,
and
yeah,
show
that
how
she could
how you do
rehearse.
it?
Yeah, she said that she could rehearse. She's like, we can either do it later or we can do it now. And I was like, well, how are you gonna show him your, like, you're gonna film a video of you? Like,
Well,
what are you gonna show him now?
well,
Which
I
is
thought she was gonna
crazy.
get a dildo and show how she practiced or
I
something like
mean,
that. Like that's the only thing I can't. I'm sorry, guys, but it's true. That's the only thing that came to my mind. I mean, how else are you gonna show him? Are you gonna go to his house?
right? Knowing his wife's not there.
I was laughing so hard because indeed, that was so juicy the way you read it. So people are asking here, what do you think if she doesn't apologize and she
Mhm.
loses during trial? What does that mean for her career?
I think her career is kind of done. I mean, look at Amber Heard. Amber Heard had to go to Europe. She had to disappear
Yeah,
and
yeah.
start over somewhere else. I mean, I feel like it's going to be, regardless, I feel like her career is kind of going to hit a real roadblock. Um, because I don't know who would want to work with her after this, right? If anything, you see that she's litigious. You see that she's willing to make allegations that seem to be out of context. So, I mean, I would think, even from an actor's perspective, like, who would want to co-star with her in a film, knowing that this could potentially happen to you too? And I would imagine, when it comes to producers and networks, like, they're going to see that, like, she is litigious, and that may not be somebody that is very employable moving forward. Ryan Reynolds has a lot of power, so I would imagine he can produce some projects and let her work on the set, but I don't know how many other people are going to be willing to work with them or want to work with them and act with them again in the future. It's going to be interesting. I think her career is kind of done, but I mean, if she stays with Ryan, at least she doesn't really need the money. I don't know. It's gonna be
Hmm.
interesting because, like, Amber Heard, what is Amber Heard doing these days?
I don't know. Well, doesn't she have Elon Musk kid? I think she's set for life, doesn't she?
But then we also saw Blake did her. Well, she has another Simple Favor, and then she has this Penguin documentary that she narrated. But
What?
yeah, there's a,
Okay, what documentary?
it's a documentary about penguins, and it's like about saving the penguins, and so she's
Uh,
the narrator of that. I would imagine that both the Penguin documentary and the Another Simple Favor film, those were done prior to the lawsuits being filed, but I don't know if anybody else is currently trying to work with her after all this.
and what about Ryan Reynolds? What if they lose the lawsuit? Because do you remember when I told you in one of the lives that we did that that you said, I told you that if, for example, my girlfriend came to me and said that this perv is breaking into her office and she's breastfeeding her newborn, I would just grab a baseball bat and go town with them. I don't care. And I told you that I thought Ryan Reynolds, what if Ryan Reynolds was doing that? And then we have the next thing is him asking to be dismissed because he was just defending his wife. I mean, what do you think? Do you think he could be let go? Because some people have said that that application has teeth, unlike Blake Lively.
No, I don't. I mean, if anything, she has a bit of a stronger case for a dismissal. I don't think either of them will end up getting dismissed, though, because for me, it's more about so with Ryan Reynolds specifically, I think what's going to keep him attached to all of this is the fact that he called Justin Baldoni a predator, and he called him a predator to WME. And we already have Ari Emanuel who's come out and said that they fired Justin Baldoni and that they're ride or die for Blake and Ryan. So to me, that is easily proving the damages that were done to Justin Baldoni. Ryan Reynolds says one thing, next thing you know it, Justin Baldoni's gotten dropped. And the crazy part is it's like, as far as I'm aware, WME still represents Diddy. So it's not like they fired Justin
Yeah.
Baldoni because he's involved in a scandal. They fired him for some reason. And then you have somebody like Ari Emanuel, who's the CEO of Endeavor, him coming out and saying he's ride or die for Blake and Ryan and saying that he fired Justin Baldoni. To me, that doesn't look good, especially considering Ryan Reynolds is the one that spearheaded that. And he basically admits that in his motion to dismiss by saying, well, I called him a predator, but it's because I believed that he's a predator. Like, he is a predator. And it's like, which is a very bold statement to make, but he's not denying that he called him a predator and told WME that he was a predator. It was just, to me, legally a really dumb thing to admit in his motion, because if the judge doesn't dismiss him, which I doubt the judge will, he basically admitted to calling him a predator to WME.
And now that Ari Emanuel, because people say he has stepped down, but the one that I saw that stepped down was Peter Whitesell or something like that. I've seen that he's planning on stepping down, but I've heard that people say that Ari Emanuel himself is stepping down. So people are also confused about that. Is he stepping down or is he not? Because if he's stepping down, then Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are done.
I My understanding is he's shifting roles. So he's not officially leaving the company, but he's no longer going to be the acting CEO. He's just going to be on the board of directors. So, I mean, to me, that kind of sounds like a step down. Like, you don't move from being CEO with active control to then just being one of the board. And not to say that the board of directors doesn't have power, right? But the board of directors doesn't have the day-to-day operational power that the CEO has, because the CEO is the one that's actually working, and the board is kind of just there to make the bigger decisions. But usually, in order for a board to make a decision, there has to be, a majority vote from the board. So they collectively have power. But I think, Ari Emanuel is somebody that probably liked having more of the day-to-day power, which I would think would be a better role as CEO than just having this presumably figurative role of being on the board.
Do you think that though that this is this wait this is another question that people sent me. I have so many questions for you. People who knew you were coming. Do you think that that's a strategic move to avoid having Ari Emanuel testify, or do you think that he still would have to testify if he's prompted to do so?
I think if he gets deposed, he's going to have to talk regardless. I don't think there's any world where Ari Emanuel doesn't get deposed or doesn't have to testify.
That can't be good, can it?
No, I mean, especially because in that Freakonomics interview, like he made it very clear that he knew that this question was going to be asked of him, which to me shows that this was a premeditated answer. He was very aware of what he was saying. He can't just say it was live, I was caught on the spot. He says I that he knew that this question was going to come up, and he said 2 times that Justin Baldoni was fired from WME. Now, I mean, anybody that knows how agencies work, you can't fire a client necessarily. You just drop them from your client list and they can technically drop you for any reason, but it just doesn't make sense why they would keep somebody like Diddy on their roster and drop Justin Baldoni.
I can't believe they still have Diddy on their roster. They
I
don't
think
have.
they still, yeah, I'm pretty sure they still have. Last I heard, Diddy was still a client of WME's, which was strange.
Yeah, well, it's I'm going to show you something a little bit later, but this is very interesting too because Diddy seems to be followed by quite a few powerful people, and still, so it's very, very interesting. So I wanted to. People were asking this. I'm just reading the questions. If they were to lose, who would pay the 400 million? Does it come out of Ryan Reynolds' pocket, or are they insured? Who? I mean, how does that work usually? Are they insured? They should be insured, right?
Well, there are multiple defendants in this lawsuit. So there's Ryan Reynolds, there's Blake Lively, there's Vision PR, there's Leslie Sloan, and there's the New York Times. Now, should they all end up losing, ultimately the judge is, I believe, who awards the damages. I guess the jury. It'll come down to the judge and the jury. The jury will decide whether or not they're held liable, and then from there a judgment will be awarded in their favor, and then who has to pay that judgment will come down to whatever the jury ends up finding during the trial. And because there are multiple defendants here, I would imagine that it would have to be split amongst them. So
So
if
they
the
will
New York
come out of
Times
their
pays
pockets.
all of them, yeah.
Oh, Brian is not that rich because I know there's multiple defendants, but the 400 mil is directly to Ryan
I don't know if
and
they'll get a
Blake.
full yeah, I don't know if they'll get the full 400 million. I mean, ultimately, it's gonna come down to what the jury and the judge decide, and normally in these lawsuits, you aim really high, you put a really high number, expecting that you'll fall somewhere down below. I mean, I would imagine well, I mean, here's the thing. I feel like Justin Baldoni has a really strong argument, or Wayfair overall has a really strong argument to prove, the loss of the second film. Because how much did I believe the first film made about like 300 million? So that alone is money lost that they're not going to get from a potential sequel. That those are very clear damages. There will not be a second film that comes from this. And that to me sounds like, a very clear cut number. So I don't know how much they'll ultimately end up getting awarded should they win, but I would imagine it's still going to be a pretty high amount. I don't see them getting less than 100 million.
Wow. Another thing that they wanted me to ask you is the following. Do you think that Ryan Reynolds, if they lose this lawsuit, do you think that his chances, sorry, the person is writing in a different language, so I have to translate. The chances are that he also will have work or not? Or do you think it's completely, his reputation will also take a hit? Because the only thing he has going is Deadpool, really.
I mean, he still seems to be working. We just saw him at the UN. So it seems like even despite the controversy that they're currently in, people still want to work with Ryan Reynolds. They still invited him to participate in SNL. They allowed him to do the skit. So I think he'll be fine. Unfortunately, I just think Hollywood, as long as he still has powerful friends, those friends will still make sure that he has work. Now, the bigger indicator is the audience going to care and want to see him? Like that's really where the power is. It's if people aren't going to watch Deadpool and the numbers are down, then that shows that the networks don't have any incentive to continue to keep him employed if he's not bringing in the numbers. Like it comes down to the audience and the public at the end of the day, and whether or not they're going to continue to show up for him. And I just think he continues to hurt his reputation with the audience.
You know what? I found out you were the one who told me. Was it you the one who told me that there was this stunt black woman, the first stunt black woman on set who died? And I read that they only got $300,000 in
Damages.
damages.
It's crazy.
Guys, I don't know if you know this, and you know what? It breaks my heart because I'm Canadian, and also, and also because I really like Deadpool. But I was wondering, is yeah, like I mean, how can he just get away with paying 300,000 woman because she was even asked not to wear a helmet because they didn't want it to disturb the scene. So probably I don't know if she would have survived it, but it wouldn't have hurt. And she only
Yeah.
got $300,000 and people didn't know about it. How come the press didn't report about it? And this was around Black Lives Matter thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why the story didn't get more traction. You would think that it would. I mean, it could be that there are just a lot of powerful people around the set of Deadpool that they really just tried to keep it as hush hush as possible. But I mean, it would ultimately come down to, who I mean, I would assume the network or the production company was the one that was held liable for paying that out. And if that's all they were willing to offer, I mean, I haven't looked into it. I haven't looked into the litigation side of it. So I don't know how that judgment was awarded. But I mean, it is a very low judgment considering somebody lost their life.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you something because you seem to be in the know. There's one tweet that is troubling me that he apparently said something to Sandra Bullock about the intimacy coordinator because apparently they did a movie, The Proposal or something like that. And apparently Sandra Bullock is very good friends with him, but I haven't heard her say anything. Was she involved at all in any of this? Do you know?
I don't think so. I mean, the last time I think they were together was on the set of The Proposal, which happened a very long time ago that I would imagine they probably haven't kept in touch since then.
But then why would he post that tweet, especially to her? Like to Sandra Bullock saying, you know what? Hey, we should have had an intimacy coordinator, happy birthday, or something like that. It wasn't her birthday
Oh, well, I mean,
around.
I'm sure they're still friendly. I mean, people in Hollywood are gonna wish each other happy birthday all the time. Yeah, I'm sure it was just a friendly tweet that he'd put out to her and he was making a joke. Kinda seems to be
Yeah.
his humor to kind of, troll about these things, but it's just interesting that they can make jokes and not take these things so seriously, but then they hold other people to a different standard.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I am absolutely. There's one question that they wanted me to ask you too here. Why would Blake Lively be allowed by Sony to direct the movie or take over? Why would they allow Taylor Swift to get involved and bring their producer so late? Was it because Sony was in also with Ryan and Blake? Were they on their side until shit hit the fan, or because why so passive? People are wanting me to. I mean, I don't know, guys. Remember, Zach wasn't there, but he can only speculate because But you're the oracle here, so people are asking me why so passive and why not issue a statement.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, stars like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds hold a lot of power on set, and I think they abuse that power often. We've heard that Blake Lively has had this reputation for a very long time of kind of bulldozing her way. We even have that old Forbes interview where she was at the Women's Summit on stage, and she was talking about how like she doesn't give her plan up front, that ultimately she kind of likes to take creative control. She tries to come in a little more passive, and then once she's already in and the contract has been signed, that's when she kind of takes a little more control of things. So I mean, these things happen all the time. You have the person that's first on the call sheet calling all the shots. The bigger celebrity, the bigger the name, the more popular they are, the more power they tend to have. And it really comes down to Sony probably had other projects or planned to work on other projects with them. So why would they tarnish that relationship with them? They're going to give them what they want because that's just how it works in Hollywood. The bigger star gets the control. Which is why it's so strange that they're trying to make it seem like, oh, well, Justin Baldoni was the director, so he had all the power. But it's like, that's not typically how it works. Usually, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, when they come on set, they're going to be the ones that have the power. And especially since we were hearing that Blake was threatening to, not promote the film. She was threatening to not continue production, which would completely stall the film. It would, delay production even more, and we're hearing that they were already over budget. So at the end of the day, it just sounds like they're two big Hollywood bullies.
Yeah, the thing that people don't understand is that Justin Baldoni, you guys, he's not Steven Spielberg or,
Yeah.
or Quentin Tarantino. You know what I mean? It's not, I mean, those kind of directors you don't muck about with. You,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But poor Justin was like an unknown, not an unknown, but he's kind of like an indie,
Yeah.
isn't
Smaller.
it?
Yeah. That's
So
why,
in
I mean,
this,
it even seemed he seemed, like, really excited that they were able to even secure Blake Lively, right? Because he's not a very well-known director. He's newer in the game. The films that he's produced prior were smaller films. The projects were smaller, right? His real big breakout role as an actor was on Jane the Virgin. So he didn't have as much pull. He was just like this TV actor that wanted to produce this film about this book. And they were so ecstatic to get somebody like Blake Lively, who's a big name and really well known in Hollywood. And then Blake has friends like Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds. And I'm sure, those associations, that there are resources that they're going to be able to utilize to help the film as well. Blake, when the film comes out, obviously she's going to be on the red carpet, and you would presume her A-list husband Ryan Reynolds is also going to be there to support his wife. So, you think of all these things and the power that comes with that in terms of like promoting and marketing the film. So they do hold a lot more power than they're trying to make it seem like, oh, well, he was the director. We didn't have it. She didn't have any power. She's just this unknown little actress on the set who was meek, and Justin Baldoni was this predator. It's a ridiculous narrative.
no, I know, and I also about the Scarlett Johansson. Apparently, she's directing a movie by on Wayfarer, right? And Scarlett
Yeah.
Johansson used to be married with Ryan Reynolds when he cheated on her with what's her name, Blake Lively, on the set of the Green Lantern. And it's rumored. I
Yeah.
wasn't there, so I can't say that's for fact, but it's alleged that's when they hit it off, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And is that right? Yeah,
Yeah.
am I on the wrong thing? Because I remember that thing. Because I like Scarlett Johansson very much. She's very, very talented. She's a proper A-lister.
Yes. Yes, a real A-lister.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she was married to Ryan Reynolds, and Blake Lively was dating Penn Badgley at the time that they filmed The Green Lantern. And listen, the timing is very
Mhm.
sus, right?
That's
They're
yes, yeah.
working together, they're love interests. Next thing you know it, shortly after production, Ryan gets divorced from Scarlett Johansson. Blake Lively breaks up with Penn Badgley, and then a couple months later, they happen to announce that they're now dating. It's like, oh, what a coincidence. A little
You know
too
what?
much of a coincidence.
I was watching your live earlier, guys, and you have to go watch his live earlier because I didn't know this. I didn't know that you have to go watch his live, guys, because I was like blown away when you mention this is the live that this is the one that we're talking about, the Gigi Hadid one, and here you're talking about.
Oh, if you have the link to that, please let
I
us
sent
know.
it to you.
She should be embarrassed for the quote.
I did not know. Please go watch this live because it's so juicy, guys. I didn't know that Ryan, that was his real kid that
Oh,
said
yeah.
those words. And guys, I don't know if you saw Deadpool 3, but for example, look at opinion. I had never heard of Justin Baldoni or Blake Lively before the lawsuit, which is true. Most people hadn't, guys. And this is why Blake had all the power.
Yeah. Nobody knew who Justin Baldoni was. Like, unless you were a fan of Jane the Virgin, which my stepmother is a fan of Jane the Virgin. So when everything came out, she was like, what? Like, I can't. She's like, I followed Justin Baldoni for years. I couldn't believe that he was that kind of guy. And then, but outside of like someone like her that was a fan of Jane the Virgin, like, I don't think no one really knew who he was. And I think even people that watched Jane the Virgin probably didn't even think too much of him.
Yeah, and this is the thing. In that live, I learned that his kid, who's 8 years old, didn't want to say those words. If you go watch Deadpool, there's this little Deadpool, right? Like child Deadpool, and he said something like, well, I can't remember what it was like. Put the dick on your mouth, like I much rather
Yeah,
put
something
something.
about keep Wolverine's dick out in your mouth or out of your mouth, something like that. And so it's now revealed that that was actually their 8-year-old daughter, Inez. I think she may have been about
Company
7 at
in
the
New
time that they
York
filmed that.
that
But so, yeah, Inez was like 7 years old, and they have her saying this line, and then they're joking about how they shot multiple takes, so they're having her, say this. And at first, it's like, okay, well, sometimes some parents find it funny that their kids curse, but like this is more than her, just dropping an f bomb. This is her actually talking about Wolverine's dick in somebody's mouth. That it's like it's even more inappropriate. And it's just interesting that they have these rules for Justin Baldoni and all these other people that are not allowed to do or say certain things because it's considered predatory or it's considered harassment. Yet we have all of this now recirculated footage from Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively that show that they are very much, that same standard of definition of predator or harassment, that they've done things that would fall under that same categorization.
Let me show you a little. Just, I think I got the clip, guys, and you have to go watch this live. Just once, I'm gonna mute myself so it doesn't sound echoey. I think I got the right place where it is.
It literally states, genuinely, perhaps passionately, believes that Mr. Baldoni's behavior is regular and practicing with her over and over again.
Yeah, I'm going to pay for that later.
Ryan Reynolds writing this script for his 7-year-old daughter and practicing with her over and over again, where she literally says, when I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's D out of your mouth, is disgusting. I don't know which father would feel comfortable with that. Mind you, she was not comfortable doing this at first. They forced her to do so. And Blake Lively was definitely on board with this because she was also in the movie. Blake, Inez, and their baby was also in the movie as Baby Pool. Oh, but Justin Baldoni's the predator for what? Complimenting your wife?
I mean, that's brutal. Isn't that like child abuse?
Crazy. I mean, it's insane. I mean, it's just inappropriate at at the very minimum, completely inappropriate. And to have your kids involved in a skit like that, especially since that skit alone trolls Justin Baldoni with this whole nice pool character, which Ryan Reynolds basically admitted it was about Justin Baldoni in his motion to dismiss last week.
Yeah.
He basically said that like it's about Justin Baldoni and like that there's nothing that he can legally hold him against. At the end of the day, he said that it was hurt feelings. Justin Baldoni was just crying about hurt feelings. And it's like, hurt feelings, you're literally trolling this man and bullying him in Hollywood. So, and then you're going to go on to call him a predator and say that he just has hurt feelings that you decided to make this entire skit trolling him in Deadpool.
That's absolutely insane. I mean, and I mean, this is why I don't think that he has a career left over other than Deadpool. Because if Ari Emanuel steps down, who was their ride or die, and he's too problematic. I remember one time one person told me that in Hollywood, reputation is loyalty is okay, but reputation is everything.
Yeah.
So I don't see Ryan Reynolds coming on top of this one, or Blake or Taylor Swift. I mean, can you imagine if they're mean tweets about or messages?
Yeah. I
I
mean, it's all going to come out. Like, if anything, their best bet is to just buckle and, is to just buckle and try to settle. But I don't know. We're going to have to see how far they plan on taking this.
Well, if they want to settle with no apology, I think they're going to court. That's my take on it. What is your take on it?
I don't know. I mean, I think the wise thing for them to do is to just settle, but I think they have such big egos that I think they're going to try to take this all the way, and I don't think it's going to end well for them. The more, I mean, they're starting to expose what their legal arguments are going to be, and they just don't seem to be that strong,
I don't know. This is not. I don't think anybody. The only one I can see. Do you think I saw you were alive today and you said that juries are unpredictable, which is true. Okay.
Yeah.
But the amount of evidence and the fact that Mr. Friedman and Baldonia want to go to trial ASAP. And you talked about Ryan Reynolds going public, his company going public. Which company is that?
I think it's the MNT. Oh, MNT. Sorry. Yeah, it's one of. I think he's only. I think he's either on the board or he's not like it's not his primary business, but one of his businesses is connected, and there's a big like public sale, the big IPO that's coming in April. That could be why he wants to make sure he stays clean and there isn't any other bad information that comes out about him.
Oh, okay. So, well, now we're gonna switch it up a little bit to Meghan Markle, guys, because I want to show Zach something. I don't know if you know that Tyler Perry's the godfather to Lily, the daughter.
Mhm.
Did you know that? Were you aware of that?
No, I mean, I know that he's close with them, but I didn't know he was the
Oh, well,
godfather.
he's the godfather to Princess Lilibet.
Mm.
Okay. So he's the godfather, and he gave conditions and terms to be a godfather because he didn't want any association with that colonialist family, but he's comfortable being the godfather to a princess of the same colonialist family, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you something here because I thought it was very interesting here that Tyler Perry being, and you mentioned Diddy too, right?
Mhm.
Tyler Perry, at least until up to 20 minutes ago, this is his Instagram that I'm going to share right now. This is Tyler Perry's, right? And you can see who he's following. So you go to Tyler Perry and you type Meghan. He's not following her. As ever, he's not following it. But guess who he's following?
Oh, that's weird.
Isn't it?
That's interesting.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. That's
This
so
is why I was surprised when you said that WME are still representing Diddy.
I believe they are. Last I checked, they were still representing Diddy. But my point in bringing up the Diddy and WME thing is they weren't willing to quickly drop Diddy despite his big scandal. But yet Justin Baldoni, the second, he gets sued by Blake Lively, suddenly they're dropping him. That was just strange.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable too because I'm showing you Gwyneth Paltrow, right? You know that Meghan Markle is desperately trying to brand as ever, but now I can see, and I'll show you why she has clearly given up on doing her own clothing line, and I'll show you a little bit later why. But this is why Gwyneth Paltrow was shading Meghan Markle when she said that she had changed her American Riviera Orchard, her Confederate name for that thing, to as ever. This company in New York that's been around since 2015, they immediately had to post something saying, hey, we have nothing to do with them because, of course, people immediately started flooding them, worried
Right.
about them, right?
Right.
So within an hour, and I know that was within an hour, this is Gwyneth Paltrow. She followed as ever NYC.
That's crazy. That's why it does kind of make sense that like maybe she is trolling Meghan Markle in her latest video where she's cooking in her kitchen and she's playing the same song that Meghan Markle played in her intro.
You mean this one?
Yeah.
Yes, of course she's trolling her. And not only that, you know that she also posted this.
Delivered. So I'm gonna try on a few different pieces and style them and show you guys how I'm planning on wearing them all spring and summer.
She's basically saying that she has her own label. She has successfully trademarked her own label, right? And then she's advertising her podcast, Goop, because she's teasing everybody. And I left a comment saying, I hope it's Princess Catherine because she's saying, guess who? But she's advertising her Goop podcast, right? And so I think it's very trolling because then if you go to Meghan Markle, as soon as Gwyneth Paltrow posted her thing, then Meghan Markle, well, now she's hawking who's ever kids this. I don't know whose kids these are, and I'm not kidding you, because for example, this little girl has been portrayed to be twice the size of this little boy, whoever he is, and this in different. And depending on which picture you get, this girl is taller than this. She looks like she's like 1 year and a half, and and sometimes it's dark hair and now it's very ginger, which is really odd. So she posted in her stories this thing. She says, flying into the week with my family, thanks to my H for capturing this. But H is supposed to be Harry. H is nowhere to be found, right? Because he doesn't even speak on that thing. And then she doesn't have her own label because she's hawking and she puts a link to her closet, the brand clothes that she has worn, because apparently her trademark was denied.
I don't know. She's. I mean,
So she
I just
cannot
I
make
don't
clothes.
understand her. No.
She cannot make clothes because the company, as ever in China, makes all kinds of clothes. So they objected to her trademark. And also we have the as ever in New York City that are clothes as well, beautiful clothes. And I don't know if you know what they do. They started vintage clothing, but then they remade it into different styles, and they like, so it's very beautiful, and they grew like that. So that's what they've been doing since 2015. So she can't make her own clothing brand. She can't put the labels. And then as ever photography on Instagram is
Mhm.
trademark. And a lot of the things that she put in her trademark is photography, filmography, and stuff like that. And it's not looking good either, because like, it's still pending. As ever, it's still pending, guys. As ever. And I'm not joking. I like to show you the receipts here. It's still
Yeah,
pending.
it's crazy.
And I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. I mean, where do you see this going with this crazy woman?
I don't know. I think people are kind of losing interest in her. Her podcast is probably going to flop, like her last one did. Her season 2 of her Netflix show isn't going to go anywhere. Like, I don't know. She's going to continue to fade into oblivion.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, she'll keep trying, but I don't think, like, it just looks like her profile continues to dip.
Yeah, she has more followers. I know that most of the followers are bots, because when you go to Mode Dash, there's an app that you can tell you how many are real followers and how many she has. 81%, 81.2% are bots, or considered
Wow.
sus. Yes, yes, and her rating on Mode Dash is very poor. I don't want to show it here, but I've shown it many times. You can go to that app, which is how big companies decide whether they're going to advertise with you, depending on how many real subscribers. You know how that is, right,
Yeah.
Zach?
Yeah.
Because bots don't buy.
No.
So, I mean, it's there's something. What is the take that you give to all of this? Because now there was Ted Sarandos, and I don't know if you saw the woman that she received a letter from Meghan Markle, right? The one that's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Amanda Hirsch, right?
Yeah.
You saw that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I found out that they're produced by Dear Media, which
Mhm.
is a huge production company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, 2 days after, it is alleged, I have to say, for legal reasons, it is alleged that Rachel Meghan Markle she was the ghostwriter for this article on Dear Media 2 days after her show premiered. And then, I mean, they're really, really scathing in this about Princess Catherine, and it's like they talk about she had to downgrade her life to be with Harry.
Mm.
I kid you not. There comes the Kate Middleton hypocrisy, and then they talk how, like, how they compare her, and how she was, she didn't have a real job, but Megan did. It's pretty mean, and this is the part that it's really funny, where she says that she downgraded her life to go live in antiquated royal accommodations because she genuinely loved him.
Wow.
I mean,
Crazy.
was she that much of an alien? I didn't know very much. I didn't know anything about her. I gotta be
About
honest.
Meghan?
I don't know in the States, if I am Canadian and I never heard of her. But did you guys was she that well known?
No, she wasn't famous at all. I mean, like she was on Suits, but she wasn't even a primary cast member on Suits. She was kind of just, a side character. I mean, she wasn't very well known. I think her profile definitely dipped when she started dating Prince Harry, and then she became part of the royal family. And then I think people, she became a lot more famous and well known and loved here in the States, and then eventually, that kind of continued to dwindle after they left the royal family.
Did you hear the rumors that Netflix is offer them a contract, but it was for to do, Princess Diana's 30th death anniversary is in 2027, right? So apparently it's in the newspapers that Netflix had offered Harry, or the Sussexes as they call themselves, a contract, $15 million contract to do a 3-part documentary of him narrating the death of his mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know how much you know this, but Prince William and Prince Harry did a documentary where they spoke about it, and they said that they actually went to the tunnel. They wanted to go to the tunnel where
Oh,
their mother
yeah.
died, and they got to see the files, and they got a copy of the files, and they recorded all of that. And apparently, that idiot Harry has allowed Meghan Markle to have a hold of that.
Oh,
He
wow.
took her to Princess Diana's grave in an island, she's buried in an island inside her family's estate, in Althorpe. Um, and he took her there, and then and then he says that Meghan asked to be a few minutes alone with Princess Diana, so he gave her some privacy to be with Diana, and that when he came back, she had her hands on her grave, and that she told him that she had spoken to her to tell her how happy, um, she was that he'd married her. I can guarantee you that woman stole something from that island. I mean, this is just me, like, I mean, because can you believe this woman being around? I mean, do you know not very many people have been to Princess Diana's grave?
No.
I mean, Mandela was there. He was allowed because he was very good friends to see, other than her kids and her immediate family.
Yeah.
But Meghan Markle putting her hands on Princess Diana's grave, and it's just sickening. And that she was around my queen, because I used to love. I am a big Queen Elizabeth stan, But I was one, and so I just don't know, because people are saying, I get so many hateful emails saying that Meghan Markle, and I actually took a picture of one of the comments here, saying that um, Meghan Markle was very well loved in the United States, and it's only ignorance like me, because anybody who is everybody would know that Meghan Markle was an A-lister and a self-made woman, and that she was widely loved and popular in the United States in the entertainment industry. I mean,
Not to my knowledge.
I can tell you one name, and everybody will know it in the audience here. Erica Jane.
Yeah.
I know who Erica Jane is. And I saw your
Oh, yeah.
interview her. I was so excited. I can't believe how is she in person.
She's great. I love Erica.
I love her. I mean, she's so real, like she owns her stuff, and oh God, I love her. I do. It's one of my favorite. But was she that well known?
Meghan Markle, no. She was not well known in the US, no. Nobody knew who she was. I mean, again, if you were a fan of Suits, I mean, similar to like Justin Baldoni. I mean, if you were a fan of that show, you may have kind of known her a bit, but no, I wouldn't say that Meghan Markle was very well known prior to marrying Prince Harry.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen Zack's interview with Erica Jane, I highly advise you to go watch it, because I was like, oh my God, I was fangirling when I saw you that you were with her, and I was like, I really like her, So
Yeah, she's awesome. I love Erica.
yeah, I don't know why people were disliking her so much. I like that she's so straightforward, and she doesn't take shit from anybody. And it's like, you hate me, big deal, deal with
Yeah.
it. I'm here.
Yeah, good for her.
So that's my take on it. But I don't know, where do you see this happening? Do you think well, apparently they wanted to do that documentary, or at least Meghan Markle put out that news, and then apparently Prince Harry shut it down and said no.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's in the news here. Meghan Markle had put it. Well, we know that's Meghan Markle putting things out here, making them happen. But it's basically because we have also. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you this, because I mean, just like you school us about. Oh, and this one too. I don't know if you've heard this one. Prince Harry must be questioned over drug use next time he crosses U.S. borders. says think tank.
Mm.
Have you heard about that one?
No.
Because you know that his records were released, but
Oh, that's right.
they were all redacted. So they're saying now that he has to be questioned because this guy is a druggie. Really, he hasn't stopped. So this is what there was going on around, saying that Netflix offer Prince Harry and Meghan Markle new contract once 77 million deal ends, which is this week. And this is that they've been offered a new contract for another documentary, which would follow the story of Princess Diana's death. The documentary would mark the 30th anniversary of her passing, says a source. That source is Meghan. It would air in 2027 as part of a new Netflix deal for the Sussexes. But then there was another article, and this was Harry from a very, very reliable source that told me that Harry would not. I mean, this guy's still traumatized. Why would he want to relive, that?
Yeah. No,
Don't you agree?
Yeah, I don't think he would want to relive that.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Prince Harry, guys, okay? I'm not Prince Harry in here because I hold him responsible. But I don't see this guy doing this, to tell you the truth.
No.
What a stupid dance that woman does. But no, it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen in the future with Miss and Mrs. Markle. And also with, Blake Lively. And I mean, how do you feel? Before you go, I mean, I don't want to get political, but Donald Trump has said he wants to be part of the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth.
Oh, did he? I didn't hear that. How funny.
He wants to accept the king's offer to be that the United States joins the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is actually the Queen Elizabeth life's work. That is, she is the one who decolonized. Basically, said you don't have you don't have to be a colony of ours, but we're going to create a group of nations who freely and willingly join, and we can benefit from trade, from all kinds of things, right? So these
Yeah.
are willing participants. They don't have to be part of the realm of the empire. Canada is part of the realm of the United Kingdom. Canada, we have the money of the Queen and everything. The Prime Minister of Canada reports, our head of state is King Charles. But because we're part of the realm. But Canada is also part of the Commonwealth. So apparently King Charles has invited Trump or the U.S. to join the Commonwealth. And then apparently Trump said that he'd be lovely because he loved Charles and he would love the United States. And
that would be crazy.
I know. Did you see Alex Jones? What he said? The big podcaster. He said, "Are you insane? We fought a war. It's like to become independent." And I don't know. What do you make of it? How would you feel about that, Zack, if you become part of the Commonwealth?
I don't think that'll happen. I think that's silly. It's just, and especially with Trump, everybody wants to find anything that any soundbite of his that they can blow up and turn into a headline. And I don't think that I cannot foresee the U.S. becoming part of the Commonwealth. That's crazy.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I'm going to look forward to having you come back. We're going to be talking because I want to see what else happens. So how many lawsuits are they having right now? So everybody's basically asked to be dismissed.
For the most part, all of the lively parties definitely want to be dismissed. Nobody on the Baldoni side, I think, has filed any motions for dismissal. They seem to be ready to go all the way. They want to fight this, and I think they want the truth to get out there. And so we'll see how this goes.
Yes. Oh, Zack, look how they think of you. So if you think that he's highly respectful and everything, please go subscribe to his channel because he's amazing. And it's right here. The channel is right here. It's Zack Peter. Just plain Zack. So please go subscribe to his channel, guys. Okay. And hopefully we'll see him very soon. And you guys can come and ask all the questions. Thanks for sending me the questions. I have over 42 questions, but they were all repetitive. So I showed the ones that, they were. Yeah. And just keep in mind that he wasn't there. So he can't say, yeah, I witnessed that. I saw that. Or because for some reason they think you do know that. So thank you very much for coming today, Zack. And I hope you guys
Paula.
have enjoyed it. And I'll keep in touch with you about what we talked about earlier. And you have a great week and be safe, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.